It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
And welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Breakfast, available on iHeartRadio every morning and also on Spotify and Apple and wherever you get your podcast from. It is a Saturday morning, the third day for December for 2022. Not a lot of time to get out there over this weekend to have a look at property because time is running out. If you're looking for a deal, whatever it is, up and down the country this weekend, I hope you're able to achieve it because the meter is starting to wind down. Well, coming up on our Saturday morning, next we are going to be speaking with Scott Mitchell from Hervey Bay, talking about the price point of Hervey Bay property, what is happening there, as well as the SQM Research Boom or Bust Report forecast. Scott has got plenty of opinions to break that all down, particularly relating to Hervey Bay. If you're celebrating a birthday today for the 3rd of December, happy birthday. You're celebrating your birthday with Ozzy Osbourne. He's turning 73 today. Julianne Moore, she is on the birthday calls. She's turning 61, and turning 36 is Amanda Seyfried. If you haven't seen her in the sci-fi thriller with Clive Owen, you can watch that this weekend on Netflix. It is called Annan. It is a great watch and one of my favourite sci-fis.
It's your weekend real estate breakfast, a serial-sized podcast about what's happening in your local backyard every Saturday morning on the Real Estate Podcast. It's your real estate podcast for breakfast. It's the Main Centre Forecast with PRD, selling smarter every day.
All right, let's check on your weather on this Saturday morning. First, we go to Sydney, expecting partly cloudy skies, mainly dry with 24 degrees. In Melbourne, the sunshine is back with 31. Brisbane, a possible shower or two with 25 as your forecast high. And good morning to you in Perth. This morning, expecting mostly sunny, blue skies and your high of 27 degrees.
We talk with leading property commentators with analysis, predictions, forecasts and what's trending every morning from 6:30.
Well, the SQM Research Boom and Bust Report is out, and right now we are catching up with Scott Mitchell in the sunshine capital of Queensland, probably this morning, I dare say, eyeing up the weekend's fishing spots. Good morning, Scott. Welcome back to the Real Estate Breakfast.
Yeah, good morning, mate. How you doing?
Not too bad. You're never too far away from going out fishing there, are you?
That's one of the main reasons I did move to Hervey Bay is the fishing options in our region. But we've got a small coastal gale warning this morning, and it hasn't stopped raining for 24 hours. So I will not be fishing this weekend.
That's very unlike Hervey Bay. So let's have a look at the SQM Research Boom and Bust Report and the forecast for 2023. Scott, what did you make of it?
Yeah, look, it's a very accurate barometer of where our national economy is going. These guys have had a reliable track record, and they always base these reports on different case scenarios. We'll all hope to see the preferred case go forward, which is the RBA slowing up these increases in the national interest rate rises that we've seen consistently now for 6 months. We are expecting next week we'll see another 0.25%, and then there'll be a break until probably February. They're suggesting that we're hoping that the RBA will put a pause on these interest rate rises with the cash rate holding at 4%. And if that is the case, we'll see that optimism coming back into the market, and hopefully no more doomsday talk around recessions is what we want to see. We need to see that confidence, consumer confidence restored.
And Scott, looking at the numbers in the report, July asking prices, they say, have flat-lined. The larger falls have been in Sydney, around 5.8%, 75 grand. Melbourne peaked in March with asking prices down by about 25,000, 2.6%. But it hasn't flowed through to the regional areas, has it?
No, look, we haven't seen any reductions in our prices, and this is where this report is a good, accurate barometer, because it was only really around this time last year that we were hearing that banks specifically were suggesting that we could have seen 25 and 30% falls in property values nationally last year. They forecast that, and it's never ever been anywhere near that. So that's why I tend to put a bit more credence on the SQM report, provided we see the interest rate paused at no more than, say, 4% at the cash rate level. The majority of the buyers purchasing across Hervey Bay are coming out of our area, out of our postcode. So they're coming into the state either from Sydney and Melbourne, Victoria and New South Wales, or probably a bigger trend is those interstate buyers are still buying into the southeast corner, so in the Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast markets, and then those sellers are taking that money at a higher value than here and then reinvesting up here in Hervey Bay. That's definitely the biggest trend. So seeing our national property markets still resilient is important for our markets, because they reflect on our buyers will be coming out of those areas.
Yeah, so you mentioned the local postcode there, Scott. SQM Research Boom and Bust report does have their postcode stats. So what did you make of that?
Yeah, look, it's another fantastic feature within, or detail within that SQM research report. For our listeners that have not seen the report or download the report, you can just purchase it. It's only $59. It's more than reasonable. You just go to sqmresearch.com.au and download the Boom Bust report. That does break down our national markets, our real estate markets, at a postcode level. So in this most recent report, this is for 2023, Hervey Bay is still quite resilient. Our average medium sale price now across our postcode is sitting at $580,000. The average days on market across Hervey Bay is sitting around 90 at the moment, although our agency, so Mitchell's Realty, our average days on market is sitting at 34 at the moment, and our rental vacancy rate is still super tight at 0.6%. So the Hervey Bay market, we've seen no decline in our values across the Hervey Bay market, and we expect it to remain steady going into 2023 as well.
Yeah, and I guess that, this time of the year, particularly the Christmas, New Year period, you have so many people going into Hervey Bay. They're visiting friends and family. They get a little bit of a taste of the lifestyle. And I would imagine that in the new year, it's probably quite a busy time for you, is it?
The beginning of the craziness last year, which was the biggest boom in Hervey Bay's history, it started on Boxing Day last year. We took some advice to launch new listings onto the market on Christmas Eve, and we expected to have a little bit of a break, and we thought we would get high engagement between sort of Boxing Day and New Year, and then hopefully some sales would flow through after that. But I put two properties. I was on leave, and I put two properties under contract off my phone remotely on Boxing Day, and then had to come back from leave because of the demand was just so crazy. So we put 12 properties under contract before New Year's, and then we had another 23 contracts last January. So we don't expect it to be as crazy as that was, but it's certainly going to be strong. There's still plenty of interest in our market.
Okay, so a very busy time coming up. And just before I let you go, I see Heron Todd White, they've released their free report, and Hervey Bay has got a mention.
Yeah, that's another great barometer. So those that are listening that like to keep an eye on what's happening with our property markets nationally, Hervey Todd White, one of the largest valuers across the country, they put out a month in review report every month, and you can download that for free just off Hervey Todd White's website. So the November month in review report, so specifically there is a snapshot there for Hervey Bay specifically, and they have a great national property clock. So if you haven't seen it before, download the report, you'll see the national property clock, and it's a really accurate barometer again on how all of our markets are travelling. So Hervey Bay, a lot of those that haven't watched the market may not realise, Hervey Bay up until really last January, so January 2022, we'd essentially hadn't seen any capital growth across our market in over a decade, like none. So we were sitting in their bottom of market cycle for like over a decade. We were last September, so September 2021, we were lifted into the beginning start of recovery and then through into what they call a rising market in January this year. We sat in that rising market cycle until this month. So we've now been moved up on the Herentod White National Property Clock. We're now sitting the approaching peak of market. So that's again a really positive sign for Hervey Bay because we're not at the peak of the market. There is still more capital growth to come and our buyer demand is still steady. So any of our viewers that are also thinking of selling, there really still plenty of scope to cash in on what has happened and then reinvest or move on.
I think that you are in for a pretty exciting 2023, fingers crossed. All right, I'll let you get back to your weekend. Thanks for joining us on the Real Estate Breakfast. Speak in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Appreciate your courage and have a great weekend, guys.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.